Hey guys, Michael here. So 3 weeks ago I posted a video of me doing an unboxing of that RS over there, and I said I was going to do a more detailed comparison between the RS and the MSP, both of them being the c30s or the high speeds. And yeah, so this is the video, and I got a bunch of notes over here. Basically that's going to be the guide on how we're going to approach this. So this is going to be part one. I'm going to make it to be like 3 parts. So in part one we're going to talk about the side panels, which, as you can see, I've already removed it. It's sitting over here, they are sitting over here. And we're also going to talk about the right side of the wheels, which is where the control board and all the speakers are. And then we're going to turn the wheels, go to the left side of the wheels, and then we're going to finish off with the trolley handles. And then in part two I'm going to talk about the pedals, the RS pedals and the Nikola pedals that came with the MSP. And then in part 3 I'm going to finish off with the T6 headlights. They are the same T6, but there's a little bit of interesting differences between them, because if you're used to the MSP headlights, you kind of you're used to the whole blinding people thing. It's a little bit different on the RS. So without further ado, my dudes, let's dive into it. To get the wheel to this state where you have all the side panels removed and all the pedals removed, you're gonna need a set of tools. The first one is gonna be some sort of a Phillips screwdriver. So I have this set with a whole bunch of them in there, and one of these, which is a set of hex keys, because you're gonna need number 5 to get the pedals. If you have to remove the pedals on both of them, you're gonna need the number 5 over here. And basic procedure is gonna be, you cannot remove the side panels without removing the pedals on both of them, because you have these two on the MSP. You're talking about these two over here, and on the RS you're talking about these two over here. That's way too low, so you have to remove the pedals before you remove the side panel. So basic procedure should be remove the pedals, which, if I can use the RS as an example, so the pin goes in through like that. So what you want to do is use the number 5 key from the hex set and remove the hex screw that are on both sides. And then for the RS on mine, the pin just slides out, so you don't need sometimes it's sticky, you kind of need a hammer, like a hammer. Just whack it from either direction and then it's going to come out. And also there's a pair of spacers, one on each side of the pedal in here, one on this side, one on this other side. And here they are. So here I'll put them in this sandwich bag. You don't want to lose the spacers, man. So just make sure you have everything in some sort of sandwich bag and label them. Most of the screws, they are basically the same. So what you want to do after you remove the pedals, just go ahead and unscrew all the screws, and yeah, you should be able to just pull it out, pull the shell out. But the thing is, you see all this black stuff? It's some sort of a double-sided tape. So the side panel is not going to come out just without, even if you put it gently, you might feel that sticky thingy to it. You feel like it doesn't want to come out. So what it is, it's being held into place again by this side panel with this double-sided tape. So just pull it gently, it should snap out. So yeah, once you do all of that on both sides, then you're gonna be the wheel is gonna come to this condition where it's right. So if you look at the right side of this is the MSP. You have the 2 speakers over here. That's the XT60, XT90 connector, something like that. And this is one of the batteries. So the battery pack is combined of 2 of the 100 volt 900 watt hours combined in parallel to make it 100 volt 1800 watt hours, because in a parallel circuit you maintain voltage but you double the current, right? And as you can see, I run on the older control board for the MSP. And the thing about those, you have this triangular connection between all the motor leads that goes onto the motherboard. And one of the thing was you had one main control board and two daughter boards. So that's one of the control boards over here, and then this is the other one, and you have the last one over here. This is the axle, and to detach the wheel from the shell or attach it, they use 6 of this. Let's remove this out of the way. So you have 6 of these things, of this hex nuts or hex screws, which is, if you want to open it, you use the number 4. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I don't know if this is visible. And oh, hey, we have the buzzer over here, and you might want to pay attention to that. This is the buzzer, so that's why it's kind of hard to hear the buzzer on the MSP, because it's located literally deep in there, and then you have your foot over here, and then the panel goes back, so it's kind of hard to hear this. And as you can see, the MSP is very compact. Literally, there is no space for, there's no real estate for anything else besides this. It's really compact. And as you can see, these are all the power line, like the cables. The fan is over here at the front of the control board. And as you can see, it's all the white stuff, all the Gotway stuff, all this gooey. So if you look at the space between the pedal hanger and the shell over here, even the pen doesn't fit. It's a black pen, like my finger, my little finger. It doesn't fit in there, and that's one of the things that makes the MSP be a little bit higher than the RS. The other thing that you can see on the MSP is it doesn't have any weather gasket, like one of those weatherproofing gasket. It doesn't have it on the shell. This is it for the MSP, the right side of the MSP. So now we're going to look at the RS over here, and same concept. 100 volt and 900 amp hours, and you got another one on the other side. Speakers, dual speakers, just like the MSP. The hollow bore, right? Everyone wants to see the hole. So this is where there's a hole on the motor over there. So you see the pen is just gonna go all the way in there. You know, it goes all the way and basically comes out of this other side, right? So it's a straight hole that goes through it, and in that hole, one of the motor leads comes out of there, and it is attached by 6 of the same bolts, 6 of the same hex nuts. So you have 2 on this side, and then 2 over here. Should be 1 in there, and then you have 2 more back there, because the way the pedal hangers on this, they have this L shape to it. So 2 of them, they are like sitting over here, attaching the pedal hangers to the shell, and then 2 of them are kind of like way in there. And if you just look at the massive empty space between, let's say, the battery pack and the top of the shell, and also this space over here, it's huge. It's not the same as the MSP. Is really compact. It doesn't have all of this spacing, and if you look at the RS, the buzzer is not here like on the MSP. And again, now you see people talk about the pedal hangers are kind of low. The pedals are kind of low on the RS. Yeah, because look at the gap, right? This is almost 1 inch, and on the MSP over there, even I couldn't fit my little finger, but on the RS, a whole thumb fits in there. And on the RS, the waterproofing or the gasket material is this white line over here. So they put it on the shell. And as you can see on the motor, it uses the V2. On the MSP, the later variants of the MSP, both the high torque and the high speed, they came with this type of control board where you had all the motor leads in one line like this over here, and it was now one control board. You didn't have the main one and the 2 daughter boards. You had only the one. Everything from the MSP had been fit onto one control board. The fan on the MSP is over here, but on the RS is at the back. So the way so the wires from the motor comes in, and then they made this groove over here. They made a groove on the shell that allows the wire to go in without it being pressed onto it. So yeah, to me it checks out. You know, there is nothing interesting about this. It's just that oh, the one thing that I had an issue with, you see this gap right here? There's a tiny little gap over here, and this is where the gasket material joins, you know, because it goes that way and that way. And my thinking is, at least in my experience so far, this joint is supposed to be at the bottom over here, because either way, hypothetically, if water gets between the shell and the side panel, and it goes on this hole, you know, nothing can stop it from going into the shell, into the wheel. But if you put it at the bottom over here, so basically you remove it and kind of like connect them at the bottom, there is no way for water to go up. You know, water doesn't have a brain, right? So yeah, this is how the right side of the wheel looks like. Nothing interesting. 14 gauge wire for the power leads, and that's the what, XT60, XT90, whatever that is, connector. And yeah, this should do it for the right side of the RS. So we are on the left side of the RS. Again, as you can see clearly, this is the bore, the empty hole in there. You have 6 of this. Hopefully it's more visible on this. So you have 4 of them, and then you have 2 of them way inside in here, but it's really visible. And one of the other battery packs is over here, and then all the connections. And just like the MSP, MSX class of wheels, there's always an empty space over here. And this is the thing that I thought, like, wow, that was good. On the manual, they say that this is a buzzer, right? This thing over here. And then this is the RS logo. Yeah. No, the buzzer is over here. The buzzer, this is not, it's just an empty plastic with a bunch of holes on it. It's not the buzzer. The buzzer is right here. And this is the RS logo. So what it is like 3 layers. So you have like a plastic layer behind here, and then the next is a like a clear acrylic, which is basically a red LED that it's a red LED, and then you have this top plastic over here, and they have cut the RS thingy on it and just stuck on it. So when it lights red, you know, you see the RS logo on it. So honestly, I thought this was the actual buzzer, but nope, the buzzer is right here. And as you can see, that's the gasket material. And on this one, it's done much better than the other side. And same thing. Hopefully the space is much visible now. You see my whole thumb fits in there. So I think if they have to raise the pedal height, they will just have to make a much shorter pedal hangers, and that should do the job. You cannot have a RS with like 2200 watt hours, because this is where people get like all the modded wheels, like the MSX 100 volt with that 2200 watt hours. This is where they put the extra batteries, right? All this real estate over here. But as you can see, it's been taken over by this whole thingy, and the buzzer also. So yeah, so this is just like the LED lights. So you have red, white, and black. So basically ground, positive, negative, and the signal. And yeah, so that's for the RS. So this is the MSP, the left side of the MSP. As you can see, the main battery pack, the cables, and a whole bunch of nothing. So if, like I said, on the RS, if you want to mod the wheel, if you want to add extra batteries, this is where they add. So a wheel like the MSS, which is basically some sort of high-speed wheel in Europe, this is where they put all the batteries, the extra batteries on it. And just a bunch of cables, look at, but I don't have a problem with that. I've never had an issue with this wheel. It works like a champ, 100% of the time, right? And just like the other side of the wheel, there is no gasket material on it. There's no gasket material on the left side of this wheel. So yeah, that does it for this side. So when you look at the trolley handle, so this is the MSP and this is the RS. So if you look at the MSP, on the front side of the trolley handle, you only have like four screws. So one on each side of that attaches to the aluminum tubing, and then you have two of these that holds the two halves together, the two plastic parts that make the actual handle. Now on the RS is different. So you have same deal, two screws that holds the plastic, the front plastic part to the aluminum tubing, and then you have like four of this that holds the two halves of the trolley handle, of the plastic part together. So this is the MSP, and this, as you can look at it, you only have two of these screws that attaches this half of the plastic to the aluminum tubing. And on the RS, they have four of them, two on each side. And the one on the trolley handle for the RS seems to be a little bit bigger in comparison to the MSP. So the last thing that I could tell being a difference between the RS in reference to the MSP, the MSP sits flush on the shell, right, the trolley handle. But on the RS, there is this gap over here. So I've been trying to look at it, and the thing is, this trolley handle, this plastic thingy, is a little bit bigger than the actual shell, as you can look at it over here, and sticks out on this other side. And also, and if you can look at the way it curves in, right, there is this little curve over here. Same thing with the MSP over here. So for the RS, it being a little bit bigger over here, it doesn't go all the way in. So my thought is, you just have to sand it. Take a sandpaper and sand it, and it should go all the way in there. But I guess they're supposed to do this kind of stuff at factory. You're not supposed to come and figure it out, right? But hey, yeah, so that's all I can come up with for the trolley handles. And so we're going to look at the side panels between the two wheels. We're going to start with the side panels on the right side, where the speakers are located, and then we're going to move to the ones on the left side. So like always, we'll start with the RS. This is how it looks like. So on the outside, nothing fancy. You have these two ports over here. Basically, it's one port, which is an air intake port, and then the exhaust port is over here. And I guess it's supposed to work based on Gotway. And these are the two speaker holes. And this is the cut for the pedal hangers. To secure the side panel to the shell, you use 13 screws. And all the screws are the same, not in comparison to the MSP, where you have 11 of them, but 9 of them are the same and 2 are different. These 2 on the MSP are different. On this other side of the shell, you have the magnet that holds the pedal when you lock it. And so this is the air intake, right? So air comes into the shell through this channel over here. spreads out, and in theory it's supposed to exit the shell through this port on the side. Yeah, and as you can see, over here, how big this hole is, and there is no gasket material on it. So basically it's just straight up hole, and then it's supposed to somehow be waterproof when it touches the speakers, or I don't know what Gotway were thinking, man, but there's no gasket material on it. So that's the right side of the RS. So this is the right side of the MSP. So as you can see, all this white stuff, the white line, that's the water, that's the gasket material that is on the MSP, because on the MSP the weatherproofing is not on the shell, it's on the side panel. And as you can see on the speakers, the speaker holes, you also have that material, that gasket material thing on both sides of them. And then this is the magnet that holds the pedals. Same deal, air inputs, air intakes, 2 on this side and 2 exits. So does it work? Well, I've never had an overheating issue, so it should. You have 11 of these main screws, and then you have these 2 little ones over here. These 2 over here. So they're a little bit smaller, but again, they're all Phillips. Yeah, so nothing fancy. The only difference is the size of it. I don't know if you can tell, man, the difference between, so this is the RS. Look how big it is in comparison to the MSP over here. So I took measurements, and for the RS, the diameter of the speaker hole is 47.20 millimeters, and on the MSP it is 41.60 millimeters. So 41.20. So you have a 6 millimeter differences, and we're talking about 6 millimeters extra without any gasket on it. So yeah, same deal. Left hand side, you have same hole, 47 millimeters over here. Magnet, all these air channels, but you don't have any active ports because basically there is nothing to cool in there. And the other thing, there is this space here. I don't know how to show this, but just trust me, there it is. You can see on your RS though. So water can sit in here, right? Water can collect over here. Same deal over here. So you have 4 of this and no gasketing on it. So, and then from then on, while if water is sitting there, it's gonna figure out a way to get into the shell, I'm assuming. Yeah, so that does it for the left hand side of the MSP, the left panel. And same deal, you have 13 of these screws that you need to attach it with. Same deal, MSP, gasket, because it's not on the shell, it's on the panel. The magnets, and no holes, nothing. Just straight up shell, panel I mean. And as you can see it, all this, there was supposed to be like intake ports and exhaust ports. There is nothing. Same thing with the one on the MSP. And so you wonder, is it possible to like change them? Are they interchangeable? Nope. So because of this, look at the corner of the MSP shell and look at the corner of the RS shell. So that's the RS, that's the MSP. You see the MSP much pointier, so it doesn't fit. The same thing with the back over here, and the back of this is much curvy, so you can't fit the two. You can't replace. They're not replaceable. They're not interchangeable. So yeah, so that's all that I can see, man. Those are the only things that are visible to me. So I'm gonna turn the wheel on the RS to hear all the noises that where they come from, because if you turn the wheel on, it has this whining sound to it. So let's turn it on and hear where it's coming from. Yeah, so from here, and it has a beeping LED, a red beeping LED in there. Okay guys, so this does it for this part of the video, part 1, which was basic comparison. Part 2 is going to be about the pedals, like I said initially, and yeah, if you think I'm making content that kind of makes sense, think about subbing to the channel. I've seen guys are subscribing like every day, and I started out with the like 170 subscribers. I'm like in 220 something right now. So join them, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you think about the whole RS MSP thingy. You know, let me know what you think about it. Right out there, safe, have fun, and yeah, catch you on part 2.